Hey YouTube, what's up? So, I just came back from watching Alien Romulus, the premiere release here, specifically in Budapest, Hungary. And yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts. This is unscripted. It's just me like throwing the shit out there, saying what I think about the movie. Try to not sound too much like a broken record. So, right out the gate, I thought this movie was terrible, honestly. And I didn't go in there, expecting it to be that bad. I didn't have high expectations for the movie. I remember when the trailer dropped, I was kind of disappointed with what I was seeing. Just a lot of high octane packed kind of scenes, a lot of running around and screaming, and everybody looked extremely kind of young, a little bit. Too young and kind of like the same almost. Nothing, no kind of standout, interesting characters. And I didn't know what to make of it, so I was willing to give it a go. Fede Alvarez, I liked his remake of the Evil Dead in 2013. I think he was the one who did that. So, went by myself. Thought it would be a good idea. I'll treat myself. I'm a big fan of the franchise, big fan of the series. I think I watched the first movie, I don't know, over 10 times in my life. Aliens as well, countless times. I also am a big fan of Alien 3, which is a pretty controversial movie, and a lot of people have a lot of issues with it. And even though I understand that it's very flawed, I still think it captures a lot of that magic and mystique and darkness that the first movie had. And I also liked Resurrection for what it is. When the turn of the millennium happened, and then in the beginning of the 2010s, Prometheus came out. I was not, one of these people that were super disappointed. I actually enjoyed it for what it was, and I thought that it was beautifully shot. I thought that it was relatively interesting. Ridley Scott tried to explore some, unique, concepts in the Alien universe there, and I didn't really know how the hell he's going to tie that up. And unsurprisingly, Covenant kind of flopped, and I was sorely disappointed with the direction that movie went, and kind of filled with really idiotic characters, making a lot of really forcibly dumb decisions that you just kind of like have to scratch your head at and think that it's just kind of really lazy writing just to kind of like force the plot along to move and get things going, because you don't really have any idea what the fuck you're doing. But still, that movie also had redeeming qualities, and Michael Fassbender, I swear to God, that guy is just such a fantastic, charismatic actor. It doesn't matter in what movie you put him in, that guy will always keep my attention. So fast forward 2024, August. I was thinking to myself, how bad could this movie be? Worst case, it's kind of like mediocre, but I'm sure it will have its highs, and its lows, and I'll come back relatively satisfied. Worst case, with a kind of a fun popcorn flick that was fun to watch in the cinema setting, where you're sitting in a movie theater and you get to enjoy big effects and a massive soundscape, and enjoy the whole fiasco of it for what it is. But boy, man, was I wrong. This movie is one of the worst movies I've seen of late. I honestly, and I'm not just saying it to be negative. That is my honest opinion. I'm the last person who wants to hate on Alien. I love this franchise. It's really dear to my heart. And it just really always kind of pains my heart whenever an IP that I really care about, that I grew up with, that I have kind of an emotional attachment and an identity entanglement with, when it kind of goes sour, it really fucking sucks, and I don't like it. I don't like having these negative thoughts, but unfortunately, I got to be realistic, and it is what it is. So that's right off the gate. The movie, in my opinion, is terrible. So what makes this movie bad? So I'll try to break it down to several key points here. And I'll start off with, I think, the most important one, which is the characters. The characters in this movie are just so fucking atrociously bad. And that to me is the biggest sin that this movie is making. Because ask any Alien fan, Alien or Aliens, even Alien 3, ask any fan of the classics, right? And they'll tell you that part of the magic of these movies is not the alien, not the xenomorph, not even just the sci-fi setting. You know, all these things are nice and dandy, but part of what makes these movies really great are the characters in them. The characters, they're so interesting. They're so unique. And every character has his own kind of quirk and personality that kind of makes them stand out. It makes them feel really real and fleshed out, like you're there with the crew. You know, you're not entirely easy to immediately read out and flesh out in your mind just by, immediately getting introduced to them. Take Ripley, for example. Ripley's an interesting character. She's not just a, run and done, run-of-the-mill, stereotypical hero, She has a lot of, dark sides to her. Should I take this or should I continue? I think I'm going to continue. I'll call back to my wife, but talk a little bit later. She'll be mad at me, but that's okay. So, she's, where was I? Ripley. She is a really interesting character. And there's a reason why she's captivating. First of all, the lead actress, Sigourney Weaver, is extremely charismatic. She has this just undeniable star power to her. And she is a fantastic actress. And she plays the role extremely well. She's subtle with her approach. And the character develops and grows on you. And, is not just like a really simple cut-off cardboard. And unfortunately, and it's not just her. It's every character, in the first movie, or take every character in the second movie as well. They're all great. This movie, man, all the characters feel like a bunch of how do I put this? Like a bunch of Zoomers from some reality TV show like Love Island or something like that being stuck together. That's how it feels like. No depth. They all just say really superficial, uninteresting, unengaging lines. There's no quirks or uniqueness to any of them. There's nothing fleshed out about them. There's nothing that makes you care about these people. I swear, I finished the movie and I can't remember the name of a single one of these characters except for the lead. Her name was Rain, I think. And the synthetic, his name was Andy. They, say his fucking name so many fucking times in this movie. Andy, that, you're bound to remember. But I swear to God, I can't even think about the names of the other characters because they're so uninteresting. There's nothing to them. Nothing. No depth, no uniqueness, nothing. And the dialogue, the way that they're written, the script, it's just absolutely lazy and uninspired. It feels like any seventh grader could have wrote the dialogue to these people. They just like listening to a bunch of high schoolers talk shit. That's the level of it. No interesting themes whatsoever at all are explored. And they try to force some kind of conversation there about the value of synthetics and where they stand in a social hierarchy in that universe, but it's not done in a subtle and intellectual way. It's just done in a really dumb and ham-fisted manner. In that movie, one of the characters has a problem with a synth, and he's like very on your nose about it, and he just keeps bullying the synth throughout the movie, and really out of place and inappropriate situations that make no sense at all. Yet he still does it. And then, it turns out that the reason is because he has something against synths, because his parents, they worked in a mine in this planet, and there was some kind of catastrophe there, and, the synth had to decide to save more, at the expense of sacrificing, a few, in some kind of calamitous situation there, and his parents, died as a result, and it's just because of that he hates synths, and it's just like so. Yeah, I get it, but it's just so kind of juvenile and dumb in that way. It's just there's no subtlety to it, and it's not really, the conversation doesn't go any deeper than that, unfortunately. It's just very kind of simplistic and uninteresting. And that goes for all the characters there. There's just, and I think that's the character that had like the most going on for him. There's other characters there, a sister there, another brother, and some other chick. She's like a shaved head, kind of supposedly badass, but I swear I don't even know if they mentioned her fucking name in that movie. Like there's nothing to these characters. And so when they put them later on in the movie in all these supposedly high tension scenes, you don't care because these characters, the way that they interact with each other, the way that they present themselves, the way that they go about whatever it is that they're doing, they're so insufferable and annoying and uninteresting that you just want the scenes to end already, and you don't give a shit about whatever happens to them. So that's one thing. That's the biggest scene. Uninteresting, bland, stupid characters that are written really poorly with really uninspired dialogue. Okay? Terrible sin. That's number one. Number two, the plot of this movie is almost non-existent. There's just nothing interesting going on. And now spoilers, okay? And it's not like a big spoiler because this story is so unimportant and means absolutely nothing. It just exists to put these uninteresting characters in a situation where they encounter the xenomorph. That's all it is. It just feels like the person who wrote this was like thinking, okay, let's just quickly try to think about how I get these characters to a situation with a xenomorph. Okay, how do I just put them in the arena where they can run around and scream and get killed? That's kind of, and then just think about it, like the simplest way to possibly do it, the most lazy way possible. Like, yeah, let's just do it like that. That's how it feels. Like, it doesn't feel like somebody wrote this movie trying to expand on the Alien universe. Like, he really took this, the lore of the whole Alien universe that Ridley Scott began and really put the time and effort to try to advance it, to expand upon it, to investigate, to explore more interesting concepts in it in a deep and profound and meaningful way. That does not exist in this movie at all. It really feels like this was just an attempt to kind of cash in on the franchise and just make, a movie where people can see the xenomorph and other, supposedly memorable, iconic scenes, which I'll get to later. So that's that, and you can feel that right away. And that, to me, this kind of lack of authenticity and passion, that's how it felt like to me. Because if you do really have passion, I think, for this franchise, you would treat it with more respect. And it just felt like, this is not that. That's not how you write a story for something like this. So basically, in a nutshell, you are introduced to this minor planet where a bunch of Weyland-Yutani settlers or colonizers or whatever you want to call them in that hellhole of a planet that the sun never rises at. They're basically a bunch of slaves who are forced to work insane contracts that they can never get out of, in horrid conditions, in mines, kind of like coal miners in the day. And apparently they died from like something like the black lung or whatever. And they're treated like, I don't know, almost like commodities, like cattle, like not even human. And you have this bunch of, I don't know, young adults or teenagers that are 18 or 19. I can't really tell the age of these people. Bunch of Zoomers who come up with a plan to get off this rock. And how do they do that? Well, apparently this a piece of station or ship just happened to appear in the orbit of their shitty mining planet, and for some reason Weyland-Yutani isn't doing anything about it, but they discovered it somehow, and it might have cryopods that they can then take so that they can install these cryopods in a ship that they apparently have, that they don't really explain how they have it or why they have it. If they're just a bunch of kind of slaves living in that place, or not really slaves, but they don't really have a lot of rights, or I don't know what the hell their situation really is. But apparently they're young people in their early 20s, 19, whatever, that have a ship of their own that can leave orbit. Okay. And they plan on just going to that creepy, station and taking the cryopods, and that's how they get to the arena where all shit happens. That's it. That's it. And so they can escape the planet. That's basically super basic. And by the way, they introduced this to you in like 2 minutes. Well, like not 2 minutes, in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, like of the opening. And you don't get to really, build an interesting case for any of these individuals. So it just feels kind of forced, kind of like a rushed, forced opening scene to just get them over there. Okay, but then, it just drags on and on and on, and until something of substance happens on that ship or station, the Romulus that they get to. God damn, you're stuck with these uninteresting, bland fucking characters that you just don't care about, that have nothing of substance to tell you. And you're just stuck with them on screen for like 40, 50 fucking minutes or something like that. And it's just so, exhausting. It feels like a chore to get through. And that's another point. Like a good movie should not feel like that. And I'm not somebody who has a problem with patience or can't sit through long movies. I love, slow burners, long movies. For instance, Dances with Wolves is a fantastic movie that I watched several times. Or Apocalypse Now is a long movie that I still find captivating and interesting. And I'm able to come back to that movie, every once and again and still enjoy it. Same goes for a lot of other movies that right now don't come to mind that are long and slow. That's not the point. The point is that there's nothing of interest that is going on. And the supposed little character arcs that they have going on are so simple and childish and non-engaging that you'll just get bored. That's the problem. You'll just get bored really, really fast. Okay? And so that leads me to the other issue here with the movie, which is since the characters are lacking and the plot is lacking, what do they have? Well, they're just going to sprinkle around all sorts of member berries everywhere, as paying homage to all of the movies from the entire franchise, not just Alien or Aliens. No. They're going to pay a homage to all the frickin' movies in some way or another. I'm trying to think if they did that to Alien 3 there. I'm not sure right now. I'm kind of having a hard time thinking about something in particular that they threw in there for that. But they did that in such a ham-fisted and unelegant way, where basically the movie just feels like a funhouse, like a really cheesy funhouse ride that goes through, these forced stops that then you have to witness. And these stops are supposed to give you throwbacks to these old classics, and for instance, there's all these, buzzwords thrown around, perfect organism, this, or stay away from her, you bitch, that, or get this, they brought, Ash back, or the model of Ash as a science officer, evil android, again, in this movie. And since you already, know this character from, the first one, what made him interesting is the build-up, that it kind of caught a lot of people by surprise that he's, treacherous and doesn't have the crew's, the crew's welfare as his first agenda. And here it's just you already know. Oh yeah, he's a Weyland-Yutani, science officer, synthetic, who's just interested in preserving the organism and bringing the organism, and it's just. So great. So they slapped a de-aging AI face of Ash from the fucking first movie on, and you encounter him there. They make you see too many fucking scenes with facehuggers again and again and again and again. Facehuggers chasing you, facehuggers jumping at you, facehuggers waiting and crawling and lurking that if you make a sound, then they'll jump on you. And it's just like, God, it's so fucking boring. There's just nothing interesting going on there. The way that these scenes are constructed, just so unengaging, and also the way that the xenomorph is introduced in there, it's so rushed and kind of forced. There's just, I don't know, all the magic that made the original movies classics is just missing from here. You know, the scene with Hicks and Ripley, right, where they are in this, you know, you feel like you've gone through a lot with these characters in the movie so far, in Aliens, right? When you reach this scene where they have this kind of, you know, finally romantic moment between the two, where they're faced against impossible odds, barricading in this position, and Hicks teaches Ripley how to use the pulse rifle, right? And it's a special, cool scene. Everybody loves that scene, you know, and my God, they try to recreate that one in this movie as well, with this 19-year-old dude who was never a Marine or anything like that. It's like teaching our lead how to handle a pulse rifle, you know, holding her, you know, kind of, I don't know, positioning her in the proper way to hold it, kind of like the move, just like Aliens did. So it's just like nothing original, you know, nothing original in here. It's just like stealing, you know, sections from fucking, you know, classic movies that made the franchise the franchise. And that's the problem with this movie, right? That it's not original, that there isn't an interesting story to be told that expands upon the lore of the universe. All it does is just try to take memorable scenes that made the movies iconic and try to recreate them in a really, really unelegant, ham-fisted, enforced way with really dumb and uninteresting characters. And just to sell you the Alien experience. And it's so, and because of that, because it doesn't come from a true, authentic place of storytelling and passion, it just sucks ass. It's so fucking lame. Like this guy, he holds her position as her, right, the lead in this movie, and then she asks him, well, how do you know how to use this rifle? And he's like, well, video games and magazines. And it's just like, really? That's like the one-liners, that's the type of dialogue that you have in this movie, and you just want to slap your face. So as I said, right, they take all these scenes. There's like the elevator scene from Aliens is also in this movie, where she goes up with the rifle to, you know, I don't know, with the rest of them, and then she, you know, decides to go back down to save Newt. Well, now she does the same thing to save her synth friend, you know, instead. You know, and it's like same kind of elevator thing. Only here there isn't like a cool, right, amazing setup to this, you know, new incredible creature that further expands on the lore of the first movie, which is the fucking alien queen, right, in Aliens, which is incredible. No. Here it's just like generic xenomorphs just crawling and getting blasted to pieces by her action scene with a pulse rifle saving her synth friend, and then, you know, at the last second climbing up this 100-foot pier in 10 seconds somehow before the station explodes and you know, escape. So they just try to, like, you know, recreate all of these moments from the old movies, and that to me is always a really bad sign, when that you don't have anything original and artistic to say, that you just take from the source material, you know. And oh my God, and then the worst of it is yet to come. Like, then they try to also, you know, insert the black goo into this as well, from Prometheus and Covenant, and then they try to connect that and reenact also, guess what, you know, the creepy cool scene from Resurrection, right, where Ripley has this alien baby thing, human xenomorph hybrid creature, which a lot of people found goofy, but I found it charming in that movie because it worked for that specific movie, and they did make it really surreal and disturbing, because it was a sad moment the way that it died. If you remember Resurrection, how Ripley did feel this odd, you know, Ripley's clone did feel this kind of connection to this creature, and seeing it suffer and die the way that it did, getting sucked out of this tiny pinhole through the ship while it went into Earth's atmosphere, was just kind of cool. And they just tried to do this in this movie in a really just sloppy way, making this stupid, you know, human alien, and not human even. I forgot how they call them, the engineer. Like, for some reason he looks like a fucking engineer because it's black goo. So basically one of the crew members that went on the ship with them, one of those Zoomers, She got hurt, and then she injects herself with black goo. She's pregnant as well, so it turns her baby into an engineer xenomorph thing. Okay, and that's supposed to be like a homage to Resurrection. Only none of the emotion, none of what made that scene cool in the original movie, which was, this connection that Ripley had with it as its actual, kind of like her actual child of a sort, in a sense. So again, just like a forced homage to the classics, with nothing else going on. So the story is almost non-existent, and it doesn't progress the franchise in any meaningful direction to anywhere. Still feels like the franchise is running in place, sinking in quicksand ever more deep until it's just going to be swallowed up and there's nothing going to be left of it. So really, and then the other sin is the movie's just fucking boring. The action scenes suck. There's just nothing interesting. Even as a horror movie, like there's just nothing horrifying at all in this movie. Nothing. Even like the final act with this engineer xenomorph baby thing. It wasn't scary. It was just goofy and stupid, and predictable because you've seen it in the other movies. So you know what's going to happen. When she goes in the elevator, that she's going to press the button and go back down. When they get the pulse rifle, the dude is going to, position her and teach her how to do it because they're trying to desperately, show you that this is an alien movie. It's just bad. Cheap attempt at just, making a cash grab. And there's all this bullshit, advertising articles that are coming out right now. Ridley Scott was so relieved watching the movie. Blah, blah, blah. He approves of it. James Cameron, I don't know, like people supposedly, writing all these articles that, they approve of it and it's a good movie. Go watch it. Spend money on it. Don't. It's undeserving of the franchise title. It does not feel like an alien movie. There's nothing about this movie that makes it alien. Just the xenomorph is stuck there, and they also they did it in such a disrespectful and cheesy, stupid way. Nothing about this movie is good. It fails on all fronts. As an action movie, as a horror movie, as a sci-fi movie, as an alien movie. I absolutely do not recommend it. Save your money, save your time. Hopefully one day somebody who loves this franchise and wants to really, make a serious attempt at expanding the universe and doing something meaningful with it, will create a movie about this. But until then, I don't recommend. So that's my take on it. See ya.